Incrementally, I'm seeing tribalism mount between the Path of Exile 1 versus Path of Exile 2 communities. Even though they're the same game, plenty of fellow exiles view Path of Exile 2 as something that's going to demolish what many folks love about present-day Path of Exile. Here's what I mean. This is how many exiles typically picture Path of Exile 1 gameplay. Now, let's flash over to what gameplay we've seen of Path of Exile 2. Endlessly, I read posts and hear people claim Path of Exile 2 will be a completely different game when compared to Path of Exile 1. Players say grinding gear games will take the zoom away, they'll decrease our power levels entirely, they'll destroy the size of packs and the immense rate at which we can juice our endgame content. Goodbye Headhunter, Deadeye's speed, revoked. Max pack size, 100% delirium maps, oh, you're out of here too, right? Well, no. My fellow totally sane exiles, please understand that's not what's going to happen with Path of Exile 2. You see, we have an apple here. The apple is Path of Exile 1's endgame as we know it. It's a juicy apple. I'd say Oshabi would give it a 7 out of 10. On the other side, we have a banana. It's not juicy at all. In fact, it's not even ripe. It's in its earliest stages of development. Eventually, it'll become a scrumptious banana, but it will never be juicy, because bananas aren't juicy. People on Reddit, the official PoE forums, and anywhere else PoE is discussed are comparing the omega-juiced Path of Exile 1 endgame, our delicious apple, to the trailers and teasers released of Path of Exile 2's early game, probably between Acts 1 and 4, our unripened banana. You cannot compare the two in the slightest. Here's the deal. If you'd like a better comparison, compare Path of Exile 1's first through fourth acts to the videos they've released. That should be more in line with expectations, but even then, there's another layer, fellow exiles. The footage released by the developers is carefully curated to showcase the new shinies arriving in Path of Exile 2, as with most Path of Exile trailers. The PoE 2 teasers are aimed at enrapturing as many new players as possible into the game while showcasing what they're improving and adding in this mega expansion to present-day Exiles. They want everyone to see the as good if not better than Diablo 4 graphics. They need people to see the amazing animations. They are trying to showcase the new weapons and skills. They're focusing on the incredible new bosses and the awe-inspiring environments. Why? Because that's where Path of Exile needs the largest improvement. Other than that, the expansion is adding an absolute ton of content to the game. A new campaign, 19 new ascendancies, new weapons, new skills, new bosses, and tons of other jam-packed content we're not even aware of yet. The zoom big monster packs go boom core of Path of Exile is here to stay, with minor alterations and tweaks, a reality that's always been here, living alongside us. Early on, we might become a bit slower, as Chris Wilson said at ExileCon 2019, right here.
So at PoE 2, do you think you're going to see a massive slowdown in terms of like speed of the game and pacing of the game?
It's really tempting to say that would be a good thing, but I don't think it necessarily is, because we don't want the situation where someone runs Path of Exile 2, tries their cool build and says, yeah, this is crap now, right? Like, it has to be that someone enjoys the game in exactly the same way they want to be doing. And look, we do need to try to find a way to make it not quite as fast at the end game, but it's not going to be slow.
However, the iconic playstyles and unparalleled challenging pinnacle content is here to stay. Path of Exile is a niche game in a niche market. It's not meant to appeal to an absolutely massive audience like Diablo 4. Instead, it aims to gather those who are truly interested in a gaming experience like no other. Those who enjoy Path of Exile will enjoy it for a long time and keep coming back for more, league after league. Those who bounce, well, it's likely it just wasn't meant to be. This ARPG caters to a very specific audience, and while Path of Exile 2 might be trying to add a bunch of new players to the ranks of us totally sane exiles, it won't do so at the cost of what makes Path of Exile unique. If it does, I will eat my words and tremble before the totally unhinged exiles who said I'd be wrong. However, I'd reckon I'm on the right track given the history of PoE and GGG. Briefly, we can compare the most recent trailer from Grinding Gear Games that of Path of Exile 3.21's Crucible League with some actual Crucible gameplay. Here are a few snapshots of gameplay from the trailer itself. And here's some actual endgame footage. They're quite different. The visual fidelity of the trailer focuses on highlighting the mechanic and the monsters. What's new? What I'm actually doing in the game? It's live gameplay. There has always been a difference since Path of Exile's inception. PoE 2 will be no different. We're going to find out sooner rather than later if the Path of Exile 1 versus Path of Exile 2 divide shall grow or shatter completely. ExileCon 2023 begins on July 28th at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I will be covering absolutely every single ounce of it alongside all the other content creators for our lovely little dark game. I hope you'll join me, either as a fellow viewer, a very hinged subscriber, or a completely sane member or patron. I'll see you there. You totally unhinged exile. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching the videos on screen now. Every minute you watch helps the channel grow. To my current channel members and patrons, the most sane exiles among us all, many thanks for your support. To everyone who watched until this ultimate moment, Tala Moana.